interesting. Very interesting take on some traditional concepts as well.
Yeah. Did it help me typing it up? That was an exercise of love, that for sure.
Wow. Yeah, take my hat off to you. That's quite a job.
Well, it was interesting to transcribe it because, you know, it was kind of fun for me to see that as I was, you know, going back and making sure that I had everything, that I'd missed certain things, you know, just even as I was typing. So, you know, I went back over it a couple times to make sure I had it as close to what she had as possible, what she was saying.
I was thinking that one of the advantages for you would have been that you would have really concentrated on yeah, so that you really got the most out of the recording.
And you know what the funny thing of it was that it was almost as though I was doing some sort of time shift when I was listening to her on the call, and I was actually almost getting it on another level at the same time, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that must have been cool.
So John's saying we should try and get these on Focus 27. I don't know. We'd have to figure out a way to meet up there in the first place. Are you quite adept at getting to 27?
No. I still need lots of practice actually with all the focus levels. I'm not that good.
It takes a little bit of I don't know. Like, I'm not good at getting there on purpose each time, but I do have enough data points, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that I kind of know where I'm at when I get to these places or these stages. So that's kind of nice.
It's funny you asked, because last night I was actually thinking to ask you guys, do you use some sort of a regular visualization, story that you take yourself through so that you can recognize the various focus levels, or how do you, what do you actually do when you're going through them?
For me, it's become kind of a place of what kind of information am I looking for, or what am I hoping to do there? And it seems to be more of almost a feeling for me that it's when I'm looking for answers to questions, it seems like, okay, that's Focus 12 sort of stuff.
Okay.
But I can't be positive that I'm actually at those same focus levels from that. But it's kind of my intention of, okay, I kind of know Focus 12 is the place to go to ask questions. So I kind of intend to go to that space.
Yes.
And then it seems that it's easier for me to get the answers to the questions at that point. And then if I'm doing readings for people, or if I'm, then it's almost like it's a different, it's almost like I kind of go into a different area of my brain. And I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's like it's not me that's there. It's like a higher part of me. Those are the best words I can use. And I thought it was interesting in the Explorer 8 session, where she said when we use language to define something, we limit it. And she's actually quite right about that.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, when we try, and I know when I read A Course in Miracles, I mean, there was, you know, we give all the meaning to whatever it is we name, right? That was one of the big things for me when I went through Course in Miracles, was like, oh yeah, we do. We give, when we name something, we give it all the meaning that it has for us.
Yeah, I've tried as an exercise, trying to go through the day and look at things and not actually say the name in your head, and it's not that easy. It's actually quite difficult.
And it's like becoming, and that's one of the things, I don't know if you get Peter Russell's emails and stuff, but that was one of the things he sent out that he's been working on, is just taking a few seconds and just being fully present with exactly where you are in that moment, and just opening up your awareness to whatever it is that you're doing. And I've done it a couple of times during the day, and it brings you to a more connected, is the best word I can, again, words, language, but a more connected level, right? And it's impressive. The more you go down this rabbit hole, if you want to use that word, it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been listening to quite a bit of Tom Campbell's videos, and
I'm calling him on my phone again and see if I can get him on the phone.
Okay. Do you hear an echo from me? Because I'm hearing my voice echoing. I'm just wondering whether you hear the echo or whether it's just me.
No, I'm not hearing an echo this time, which is impressive.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty good. I'm just going to try and call John here real quick and just see if he can get on Hangouts if he's having trouble.
Yep.
On the line while your call is completed. Long distance charges may apply.
I see we've got Anna on as well. I see her picture up. Is connected?
Anna Buckstrom, she's the one that's helping with the video call, yeah.
Hello?
Right.
Hi, John. Are you coming on Hangouts with us? Or are you having?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've been listening to your conversation there, but my video is not working. I don't get any, I get yours, but mine doesn't show.
Okay, because we're not hearing you.
I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
No, we can't hear you. So do you want me just to leave you on the phone with us?
Yeah, I think that's probably best. I'm going to have to be a passive participant for now because I think technical difficulties have overcome my limited technical knowledge.
Oh, no worries. We've had our own technical issues this morning, so we'll get this figured out. And it's good that it's just this small group of us for right now, because I think this is something that we can certainly get more people interested in our calls and our talks at some point. So.
What's the advantage with this new site? What is to be gained by doing that?
Jeff, can you kind of explain the new vMix? Do you have a moment to tell us? Jeff, are you hearing me? I don't know if Jeff's hearing me or not.
I can hear you fine on the audio, the feedback from Hangouts.
Jeff, your audio is muted. I can't hear you. Your audio's muted, Jeff. We're not, I could send him a text message, I guess, and let him know that we're muted here.
Yeah, he's trying to talk.
Yeah, he is talking, but I can't hear him. I'm just going to send him a text and hopefully he'll get it.
At least I can hear you, so I can be a participant on the side.
And can you hear John Anthony?
Yes, I can hear him. I can hear you.
Hi. The other person?
Yeah, Anthony's online as well. Can you hear Anthony?
Oh, Anthony? Okay. I can hear Anthony, I think, if he was just talking.
Okay, good.
I can hear him, you. So maybe, how many other people are in talking mode right now?
Well, Jeff and Anna are on the call with us as well. They're the ones who are doing the recording for us, so that we can post these onto the local chapter network Facebook page, and get these videos kind of to help people join us so that we can get more participation.
Yeah, great.
So
okay.
how did you find that the transcription, John? Was that helpful?
I loved it. The transcription was wonderful.
Okay.
I was wondering how that was accomplished. It was done manually. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I listened to
Amazing.
I listened to it and was typing. It took me a few hours to do it, and I was just explaining to Anthony that it was interesting to go back over it, to check for corrections, because I thought I had it all typed, and then when I went back and re-listened to it, it was like, oh, I missed that, and I missed that, and so that was very helpful.
Well, we're in an age now of automated voices and everything, and I think we've got a long way to go before transcriptions can be done totally automated.
Yeah.
I've tried a few transcription software pieces, and none of them were worth a darn. I haven't found anything that, in other words, that works. That can take an MP3 audio and turn it into text. It just doesn't seem to be out there yet, technically. At least I haven't found it yet.
Well, I'm going to try dragging Naturally Speaking for the next one. So.
Well, good. Well, thank you for going to that trouble.
Oh,
it was amazing.
My pleasure.
I listened to the tape recently within the past week, and it brought back a lot of those themes that are so important. You know, when you're discussing it, you want to be able to go back and accurately remember.
Yeah.
And the transcription definitely helps.
Well, good. So, did you get any insights?
I was thinking of Robert Butt, you know, transcribing from Gene Roberts. he must have been quite a stenographer.
Must have been.
Up with her.
Yes. So, did you get any insights, John, into the exercise, the Explore Session 8? Was there anything there that was kind of like an aha for you?
Well, you know, I just listened to the tape.
Yeah.
Was there something was there an exercise that was mentioned on it? I didn't get to that point. So.
Oh, no. I just thought by listening to the tape, was there some insights that you got out of listening?
Yeah, there's always something of value in those Explore tapes. Some more and some less, but this one here deals with a sensitive subject for a lot of people. I come from a mixed religion family. You know, I was raised Catholic originally. Some of my members of my family are still loyal Catholics, and there's others who have gone to the evangelical Christian side, and they would be very offended by all this that was in that tape. They would find it absolutely revolting because they're into what you might call the ideology very heavily. So when you start talking about Christ, I cringed a little bit because I remember some of those discussions we had in the family, but I saw how she was handling it, and then I got really comfortable with what she said about Christ. Okay, so that it wasn't offensive to you then. You found it. No, not at all. Yeah. Okay. It wasn't all. I didn't know what was going to come out, but the way it was handled. ROMC was a good reader. She apparently reads these things as they're scrolling in front of her. Is that the way she does it? Well, that was the impression I got by listening to the exercise. It was as though she was taking dictation from the larger consciousness system, At the very beginning, she describes that she sees words coming down, so I presume that she was, and she reads kind of like in that fashion, kind of mechanical, but, the information is fabulous. Yeah, I thought it was. And I would have loved to have been privy to some of those cess talks too, but we have the books, so we don't really need the talks. But there's so many different threads, and weaving them all together, is really interesting. Well, and that's kind of the take that I got on it too. Was it is up to each of us individually to get our own information. And that's one of the things I like about doing the meditations with TMI is it after a while you do start getting a link of your own that you can go and ask questions, and you can ask for the answers, and you can you can start getting to a place where it's like, okay, I think I understand. Those are humps, really come fast and furious at times, Like every once in a while, I'll be reading a set book, and I'll find something, or I'll be listening to Bob Munroe. At the end of his third book, it's a fabulous section. Especially when he talks about the missing basic. I love the missing basic. He tried to lead you on to the third volume. Well, what is the missing basic? Right. He finally reveals it. But it takes a long time, and that keeps you involved in the conversation, keeps you thinking, about right. What it's all about. So it keeps you focused. Everybody has to have a basic for themselves, I think, too. Right. So I think Bob's basic may not be the right basic for everyone.
So what was Bob's basic that you read?
Oh, as I understand it, there is a creative source for everything. You
Right.
know,
Right.
there is a creator, and everything does come from a common source, and it's a beautiful idea. I've always basically held that since I left Catholicism and became a Buddhist. You know, it's always made sense to me, but I would go my own leading is in other directions. Not that isn't valid, but I would be going more towards love, you might say, as being the missing basic for me. You know,
Well, and that's Tom.
The supreme basic.
That's Tom Campbell's as well. Is we're to becoming love, and I find that.
Yeah, exactly.
I find myself that
I ought to catch up with Tom Campbell's videos if he has it there, because that resonates more with me than anything else. Is the concept, that we should become as it were, a living flame of love,
and I
broadcasting to all of the creation, not just the human creation, but all of creation, and everything. I've already gone through the exercise of adopting the entire human race as my spiritual family, So right. I have a few people I have to take care of.
Well, and I think that was what Rosie was trying to get to in the first part of the tape, as well as being more loving, and that's part of that consciousness that's within all of us, is that love consciousness.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I really thought that.
The funny thing is, I was never that much of a bhakti type of person. I was more. I was reading the book "Be Loved Now." I don't know if you're familiar with that, Ram Dass. Okay, and at the beginning of that book, he says, "Hey, I basically love the Buddhist idea, just seeking for consciousness exploration." But then he met his guru, and then love took over. I tend to be a little bit more in that mode right now, and it's funny because this is a big change for me. I was more in the consciousness exploration mode before.
Right.
Not that they are in opposition anyway. They go together,
right.
Obviously.
Right.
They go together, but everybody has their own calling, I think.
Yes, and we do tend to have something that we specifically came here to accomplish. I think each of us has that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. We've been sent here. We're part of a part of a part. That's one of the things I love about reading Seth, especially as it talks about not only the potential and the actual cells, but also the splinter cells. And how we're all related to everything. And that makes so much sense when you think of quantum physics theory and entanglement and things of that kind. We are all related to everything. There's nothing but consciousness. And so if you take that approach, it makes a lot more sense getting into different ways to express that.
But how does that help you live your life in a better way?
Oh my goodness! It gives me a focus in my life. I'm every morning I walk my dogs. I have two dogs. I go out, and I have strong feelings of being led. My course of studies with this leading has been more in this direction. So what I do is I just basically let love flow out to the entire universe. So everything is lovable. Everything is love. And just kind of let yourself become a flow. I like to put myself in the position of my higher self. Kind of see myself from that perspective rather than where I am right now. We all have different levels of self. We know that, right. The I there, the I there, that Bob Munroe brought out so beautifully in his book. We all have higher I theirs. And so if I put myself in the position of my I there, and one of the things I got out of a sense reading is that we can't identify with these higher I theirs. Yeah, and what does that mean? Well, I'm not sure, but you know, it really helps me to put myself in the position of a higher I there, and do the loving from that level.
Well, my grandson's having trouble with his.
That permeates my entire day.
My grandson.
So every minute I get, you know, is an opportunity to shove off some high intensity love towards whoever needs it, you know. And I don't know who they are, but you know, it's not for me to make the direction of who gets this energy. It's being taken care of by the universe. So I just basically let it flow. So that's where I'm at right now. Call me again in a week. Who knows?
Yeah, well, and that's true. I mean, we all have moments where we do that, and then we have other moments, you know, and we still have a life to live, right? And so being that as a philosophy.
I'm extremely busy. You know, I'm not independently wealthy at all. I have to work. I put in around 60-hour days, weeks. I mean, 60-hour days. Wow, that'd be a feat.
That's impressive. Yeah, that's impressive.
It's really been
not quite that bad.
Yeah.
You know, but having something that can basically sum up the energy that ordinarily would go to waste, you know, I direct it outward towards in love to everything that needs it out there, you know, the entire universe of need. And I'm particularly interested in the characters who are in the position of leadership, you know, Putin, Trump, Assad, all those people who have many negative characteristics, but they are actually, you know, they're following something, you know. It may not be the right thing, but, you know, if they could go into their heart somehow, if we could send them an impulse somehow through love that would bring them into their heart, then whatever they did would be right at that point. You know, all we need to do is just basically get them into their heart so they are who they really are, rather than trying to just get the adulation of the world or whatever they happen to be doing.
Well, that's one of the things Rosie.
The richest man in the world, like Putin, you know.
Yeah, Rosie talked about that in that exercise too. Is it's about, you know, those who seek power and those who are looking for that. You know already that they're not in that consciousness of what,
right.
You know. So
they're not in their heart.
So
they are looking. They're not listening to themselves, their deepest self, and that's the greatest gift we can give anybody, is the ability to go to there. Because once you reach that level where you're in touch with yourself, everything follows from that. You know.
Right. And so, do you think the more of us that get to that level, but we still have decisions to make to be part of this earth level as well? So how do we help to encourage a new paradigm? Yeah.
I love that expression, by the way. One of my favorite expressions, the Earth Life System. I really latched onto that. You know, really describes where we are.
So how do we change this system to be more in alignment with what we believe the way things should be? What things do we have to start focusing on bringing into the world? I mean, it's fine to talk about being loving to everybody in the world, but how do you bring that paradigm into a day-to-day life? I mean, we all have to deal with traffic, and we have to deal with our leaders, and, you know, there's all that stuff. So how do we take our spiritual beliefs and use those to live our lives in a better way, and to have, you know, maybe, I mean, I know we all vote with our dollars. It's the purchases we choose to make and stuff, but about our political and our systems, you can't destroy something without having something better to replace it with. And I think as a group of people, we've got to start looking on, yeah, these systems are flawed. I mean, our politicians often don't have our best interests at heart, but what kind of a system are we going to replace the systems we have now with? Because you can't replace something that's broken until you've built something that's better. So those are the kinds of conversations.
I'm inspired by some stories that Munroe talked about, and also some reading some other places, including stuff. But sometimes the little voice inside, it takes years to come through.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's there, you know, because of something that happens in your life, and you suddenly realize, hey, I'm not living from my center, you know. I'm living on the surface, and once that decision is made to reverse that, then crazy and wonderful things can happen.
They do. You're right.
Yeah.
But we still have.
And we can directly, you know, I think one of the key things that I enjoy reading about, you know, is thought forms and things of that kind, especially going back to some early books that I read, like Magic and Mystery in Tibet, where this French lady, Alexandra David Neal, she basically used the yogic methods that were in vogue in Tibet at that time. She created a thought form that was living and visible, you know. And the thought form became independent, and she had to get rid of it. She had to dissolve the thought form. But the lesson from that is that our thoughts create realities. And one of the things that Seth talks about all the time is that everything we do creates a conscious entity that's out there, you know.
Yes.
And when we create these conscious entities that are out there, every cell of our body is a conscious entity independent of any other, you know. He goes into that in detail, you know. It makes so much sense to me.
It does.
That even our organs of our body have independent units, you know, each of which is conscious in a very basic way, but really. And so if we have the ability to kind of tie into this consciousness in some way through intention, and intention is what creates these thought forms, and that's exactly what the yogic method is that Alexandra David Neal used to create it. She just basically intended very strongly to do it, and it came about. It took her many months to do it, but she achieved it, and she took her equal number of months to get rid of it because it became independent. It was not under her control, and that's the problem I think with a lot of people, that they create things that are not under their control, and they go their own way, and they have they can have quite a negative impact on other people's lives and their own lives.
And again, that's something that Rosie kind of touched on a little bit briefly in that exercise, I think. So I think it was kind of powerful. It touched on a lot of stuff, and it just.
Oh, it did. It was really one of the better ones. You know, I liked the Mirror Knot ones, but I think this is a little bit more impactful.
Yeah, it did have a lot of key points. Excuse me just a moment.
Yeah. I think the power of thought, the power of intention, the fact that you're creating a living thing when you intend something strongly, that's how we can change the world. And I don't know if any of you followed the Hare Krishna or the Maharishi TM movement, you know, of the 70s.
Yeah.
He wanted to actually bring together a whole bunch of meditators and go into a city, and he wanted to be paid for this. He was kind of a money-oriented type of guy, but he had a good idea, and he wanted to create a level of meditative power in a city and reduce the rate of crime, and he felt that he could do that. And he probably could have.
Well, Lynn McTaggart has actually
never been tried to that level, but I mean, his idea actually makes sense.
I was just going to tell you, Lynn McTaggart has actually done that with her Power of 8 groups. She's sent out, if you want to look on the internet, she sent out that they've done like peace meetings with lots of people. And I'm part of a Power of 8 group myself, and we send intentions out weekly for people. So, you know, those are the sorts of things that we can use our own gifts and our own power to start making some positive changes in a forward-looking way.
Exactly. There's a lot of currents coming together here, you know, and they all are kind of adding to each other and shedding light on each other, you know. I'm currently gone back to the Seth volume called Seth Speaks, because he deals with some topics in there that are of great interest. I went through the first volume of Unknown Reality, you know, and it was very useful, but Self Speaks is much more powerful to me.
Okay.
And it talks about in your own reality in that book.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I was going to say, I read it, but the the Lynn McTaggart group meditation to focus on change and affecting, bringing peace to certain areas. It's someone has done some statistics through these studies. I think it's like 1/10 of 1% of the population of a particular area, if they, focus their thought energies on peace, for example, that they can actually bring about a change to the environment. So coming back to your question early on, how do we affect change? I think it comes back to some of the things that Rosie said in that session 8 is you've got to act yourself. So it's one thing knowing about things and if you don't act yourself, then you can't actually bring about that change. So she talked about, it's like a rock rolling down the hill. So once it gathers momentum, other things come along. And for me personally, that's the message that seems to be coming through in a lot of things that I'm reading and listening to, is exactly that you've got to actually take an action in order for something to happen. Because if you're sitting still, then you just stay where you are. But if you act, even if you're not acting in the right direction, then it's easier to get steered into the right direction. No, but you actually have to act in order to start moving forward. So yeah, that's something that keeps coming through for me. So I think there's obviously a message on some level for me.
To moving forward is you start and then it's like once you've begun something and you have an intention to get somewhere, all these little things seem to come along to kind of guide you and move you along that path towards that intention of whatever it is you're aiming for. Yeah, and I've had that experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still there, John?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, I was just listening and trying to absorb. Very good.
I just recently did the online course, which is the Munroe Institute is hosting together with Glidewing, which is called The Magical Path, with Mark Allen.
Oh, so, yes.
It's all about, manifesting the change in your life and creating your dream life, basically. And that's the same thing as, it says just start acting, and then, if you've got that intention in your mind, then you'll start getting other ideas around other things that you need to do,
Right.
And you won't necessarily get the answer in one big bang, but as soon as you're acting, then you'll start getting other ideas on what you should be doing.
And it's true, they do. It seems like you get little clues that keep coming up in your life as you have, like, as I said, as you have that intention to move towards a specific thing or a specific goal, and you hold that in your focus. It's like each new thing comes up and it just seems to move you closer and closer until you either get there or you decide that maybe, a little bit off that path might be a better way to go. Because sometimes we do, sometimes we do get fixated on certain things, and that's maybe not in our highest best good or the highest best good for others around us. So, sometimes being able to be moved a little bit off of that is helpful. But, again, those are sort of out there ideas.
Yeah, and I find, while I'm learning about all these concepts, it's not always so easy to put it into practice all the time in your own life. So, and I was, you know, some of the stuff Tom Campbell says as well. I think there was an interview I was listening to when someone was asking him, you know, you can get caught up and quite despondent if you look around you and you look at the state of the world. You know, how do we go about changing it? And his answer was, just focus on yourself. You know, if you work on yourself, and enough people do that, then that will bring about change. I mean, we might, in working on ourselves, we might influence someone else to make a change in their lives or become more conscious. So, you know, that has a ripple effect going out.
And I can give you some concrete examples of that. My husband and I started eating on that ketogenic eating plan, and my brother and sister-in-law were doing that, and they watched, you know, as my husband's weight changed and his diabetes improved and that kind of thing, and my brother jumped on board, and he's doing fabulously well. So it does have a ripple effect when we just improve ourselves and do what's best for ourselves, and, you know, looking after our own health. And hi, Eliza, how are you? Welcome. We were just talking about the exercise. Were you able to listen to it?
No.
Okay.
Which one was that?
We were just listening to that. We listened to the Explorer, but I typed it up. It's all on Hangouts. You can read it if you want to just read it. So
keep talking. I gotta go get a pair that's
okay, perfect. So yeah. So anyways, it is true that, you know, when you do your own work, whatever that is, it does influence other people. And like I said, you know, having concrete examples of that show up, it's kind of like, okay, I get it.
Turning off, unfortunately, but it was wonderful. I can't wait to hear the complete transcription of what transpires after I'm gone, but I'll stay in touch on the Hangouts.
Okay, thanks, John. That sounds wonderful. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, John.
Okay. Have a great, if this is a holiday in your country, have a happy holiday weekend.
Thanks, John. My whole family's here, so yes, we're enjoying each other's company.
Good, great.
All right, bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
I apologize for me.
Oh no, we're so glad you joined us, Alyssa. That's awesome.
This will get the energy started for next time. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, well, good. I'm so grateful. Jeff and Anna we tried the VMix conference for this, and we had a few technical glitches, but we're back on Hangouts, and this will be recorded and posted on the TMI Local Chapter group again, so people can join us next time. So yeah.
Super. So carry on with whatever you were.
Well, we were just talking about the value of bringing your spiritual beliefs into your own life, and how when you work on yourself and change yourself, it does sort of have a ripple effect outwards around to those around you. And that was what Anthony was saying, when when you just do your own work, you know, we change the world a little bit at a time when we change ourselves.
Agree. I would do that same thing.
And what we are what we are in control of is doing our own work, right? And so any tools and techniques that we have to improve our own being, then that's helpful, right?
Right, absolutely.
And Anthony was talking about the new glide wing. Do you want to share that, Anthony, the class you're taking through TMI?
Yeah, I attended the Magical Path, which is run jointly between, it's offered by Glidewing, but it's marketed and I think supported by TMI as well, because it's basically based on Mark Allen's book by the same name, The Magical Way, all about manifesting the life that you dream of. And there's a lot of hemisync. They've got a lot of hemisync tracks and meditations as part of the course as well. So, but I was just saying to Beth that one of the things that came through on the Explorer 8 session was when Rosie McKnight was talking about that in order, you know, you need to act in order to make a change and to grow. You need to act. You can't sit still just thinking about these things. You actually have to do things, and that message is coming through on a number of things that I'm listening to and reading on. So definitely a strong message coming through for me, because I've got a lot of plans and ideas about things that I want to do, but unless you actually take a little action and start doing it, then you don't make any progress. You don't move forward.
Yeah, you know, I understand that. I too find that it's easy for me to lay in bed, which I have for the last month, and think of all these things to do, and then it never happens because it just stays up there in the air. It never really connects with and gets any momentum or any traction for me. So that's, I can see that certainly play out for me. All these great, my mother used to say the road to hell was paved with good intentions.
Yeah, that's common.
But you have a reason, Elisa. You've just been through some major surgeries, so you have a reason to be lying in bed. Don't leave that part out. You know, your job right now is to do some healing work on yourself. So
I keep my therapist keeps reminding me of that because I have this very impatient body. Okay, now that time, what's going on? You know?
Sometimes you just have to let yourself heal, you know, and you have to give your body the opportunity to do that. So
right. Yeah, I've never been really good at that. So probably the reason that I had to have the hips replaced so that they did the first time, you know.
Well, you're getting around really well. I'm really impressed. I was watching you walk and I was like, wow, for so soon after surgery, you're doing amazingly well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've been working on it. So, but then after about I went to the grocery store for my first time solo, and there were lots of people to help and take me to the car and all. But I found that just that exercise, I'm going to be in bed this afternoon, just listening to some music. Anthony, on the Flywing class, how is it, like several sessions, or is it an online thing that's that you just kind of go when you're ready?
Yeah, it's all online. So they're pre-recorded videos. So there's you know, all the talks and I guess the lectures are pre-recorded videos, and it just takes you through the different steps, and then introduces the various meditations as well. So so basically Mark's, you know, talking about his concepts and taking you through it, and then there's quite a few guided meditations he does, which you can then download as MP3s and you know, do them over and over. And then there's also additional hemisync, specific hemisync tracks that have been selected to complement the material. And he just basically takes you through his methodology, and then there's an online forum where you can ask questions, and Mark responds, you know, responds personally. I found there seemed to be a lot of people on the course. There must have been about 20 people, you know, because you can see all the other participants, but the forum wasn't very active at all. I think I was the only one that asked any questions. And I think one thing that's missing from it, which was really great when I did the Gateway experience, the online version, where weekly we'd have a conference call, and I think that added hugely to the learning and you know, having that group discussion, where that's the one thing I think that's missing from the Glidewing programs, is having that a weekly session where you can actually have that personal interaction. But apart from that, it's quite a good format.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with it. That sounds intriguing, like something I could look into maybe.
All right, well, we're going to try the vMix again next month, so keep an eye on the Google Hangouts, and we'll do that, and hopefully we'll get this working so that it'll be a better video format than Google Hangouts, because I know sometimes we get cut out. But I'm really so grateful, Anthony and Lisa and John too, for coming to the virtual local chapter meeting today. And I so am grateful for you guys showing up and participating. And so I really appreciate the support of my idea of doing virtual local chapter meetings, because I do think that people do need a place like this that you can come and just chat and share ideas and share experiences, and that it does become a place of helpfulness. So
I actually had the privilege of speaking with Anthony as he was kind of up and running, and I did talk with someone else who's going to be a new chapter, and she was really in this aspect of the surgery. It's my time. I hear someone who would like to. Do I just email you that you have the list, or is it forward to them to let them kind of get them on the list? Probably going through multiple. So maybe talk about that next week about facilitate putting people, especially new people. I think that's a really feature.
Yeah, I do too. I like the idea of being able to have the local chapter meetings in a virtual format, because not everybody has one in their town. So
right. And Anthony, you would talk about you've got this potential for these widespread, people to pull them in if you could do that as well.
So it's just getting the bugs worked out of the software so that we can all hear each other clearly and see each other. So Google Hangouts is improving.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, what I'm getting here now actually better than what we did for our team meetings. The free conference thing that we use. This seems to be better.
Yeah. I like being able to see you. I like being able to see you and see your faces and stuff. So that's kind of nice for me.
I do
too. Well, again, my apologies for coming in so late. Next time, by golly, we'll, at least we'll get her done here, because I really a lot of
we'll see. Hopefully we'll see you again the first Saturday in October, and we'll try the vMix, but keep your eye on Hangouts, and any time in the between, dude, if there's something you want to talk about on Hangouts, I do my best to respond. And so yeah, that's our open chat line, and we can start posting some things on Facebook too if you guys want. So because we're all part of the local chapter group on Facebook. So
thank you.
Thank you so much for today, and thank you, Anna and Jeff, for recording the call for us.
Thanks, Beth. Good seeing you, Alyssa. Nice seeing you again.
Yes, nice seeing you too. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.